2024 IFL champion Arizona Rattlers have officially made their decision of who's going to be their starting quarterback, and it's a familiar face returning, Matthew Jacobson for Arena Football Talk. And on October 3rd, 2024, the Arizona Rattlers officially announced that they have re-signed three-time IFL MVP quarterback Drew Powell. The need for a new starting quarterback might be a little confusing because they just brought in Dalton Snead last year, an Arizona kid, and he won an IFL championship with them in their first year. However, there are reports that Dalton Snead is stepping away from football, pursuing a career outside of, and thus far he has not signed anywhere else in any other league. So Dalton, best of luck to you moving forward. As for Drew, let's talk about this because Drew Powell is, and I've said it before in the past, in the regular season, he is as good as it gets. However, I did kind of contribute to some misinformation, so I do want to apologize and correct the record right now. In 2018 with the Iowa Barnstormers, the same year that he won his first IFL championship, he also won a United Bowl. In the past, while talking about Drew Powell, I have mentioned his inability to win those biggest games. I was exclusively talking about those games in Arizona. However, that does not matter. If I spread misinformation, I need to correct it. Anyway, let's go over Drew Powell's stats. Powell had previously spent 4 seasons with the Arizona Rattlers before last offseason being traded to the Tucson in exchange for a quarterback who would never play for the Rattlers, but I guess that's fine because Drew Powell never played for the Tucson Sugar Skulls. He actually ended up going to the AFL, the relaunch last year, and played with the Orlando Predators. And then, as mentioned, on October 3rd, the Rattlers announced they had re-signed him, so he's coming back, but the league didn't acknowledge it until sometime in November, so I guess me being late isn't that big of an issue. Let's go over Drew Powell's stats throughout his tenure in Arizona. Drew Powell joined the team in 2019, only starting 5 games that season because he joined midway through, took over for Jeff Ziemba. 807 yards, 18 touchdowns, 328 rushing yards, and 13 rushing touchdowns. You lost the 2020 season, skip forward to 2021, 1,745 yards, and 30 touchdowns with another 902 rushing yards and 35 rushing touchdowns. Then we hit 2022 and he has a career year, 2,271 yards, 45 touchdowns, 697 rushing yards, and 23 rushing touchdowns. Then in 2023, 2,048 yards, 43 touchdowns, 503 rushing yards, and 25 rushing touchdowns. He also won the 2021 and 2022 IFL MVP, as well as was the 2023 IFL Offensive Player of the Year. Like I said, and I've said in the past, and I will always maintain, when it comes to the regular season, Drew Powell is as good as it gets. Coming back to Arizona, I think it's safe to say the Arizona Rattlers offense in the regular season is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be high scoring as per usual, even more so than last year. It's going to be exciting. You have a quarterback, again, 3-time MVP. He can use his legs, he can use his arms. He is a great quarterback. This is going to be a very entertaining regular season. The issue is always winning those biggest games for the Rattlers. They went to back-to-back United Bowls in 2019 and 2021, and they lost both of those by 1 score, I believe exactly 3 points. 2022, they lost in the conference championship against the Northern Arizona Wranglers, who did move on to win the championship, and then in 2023, they lost in the first round to those same Northern Arizona Wranglers in that really weird scenario where their last game of the season was at home against them, and then the very next week it was a playoff game at home against them. So when it comes to Drew Powell as a member of the Arizona Rattlers, he does have something to prove heading into this season. He's 31 years old, he's going to be at the tail end of his prime over the next couple of years. You're still going to get high quality football. I'm just interested to see what's going to happen in the playoffs because the Rattlers adding Drew Powell pretty much guarantees a playoff spot, assuming everyone stays healthy. That is as good as he is in the regular season. So Drew, welcome back to Arizona. I do hope for the best. I do hope to see you win a championship, even though the Rattlers just won last year. There is no longer any pressure to win a championship, at least for the next 3 to 5 years. That being said, Rattlers fans do have high expectations, but then again, the franchise itself has high expectations, so I do expect them to be in the mix for a championship. I'm just not going to predict a championship this season.